Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hearthstone Grand Prix here at DreamHack Winter. 2 incredibly long days of Swiss and single elimination bracket action have narrowed us all the way down from nearly 200 players to just 4, and we are ready to get into semi-final action. Joined now by Frodan and Life Coach to talk you through the first of these semi-finals. Frodan, welcome back to the cast. Our first semi-final. We're going to see you need the French player who's really been taking this bracket by storm so far up against Weghuz. Which of these two players, both having kind of a breakout performance here, if you had to pick one, which one have you been more impressed with?
Well, you know, I gotta say that I feel like Unid has had a lot of good performances over time, so I feel like it's more due for him. I think what's more impressive, too, on the surface level is that Weghuz hasn't been competing that long, and it's really easy for players who don't have that much experience to falter through a lot of other situations, maybe not even related to the game, like getting nervous. So I would say they're about equal in my book.
Sure. Life Coach, how do you feel about this? Because coming into the top 8, we had a good mix of kind of the established pros and a few of these up-and-coming names, the people who would, you describe maybe erroneously as dark horses, but now we're coming down to a top 4 where we have a good chance of really ending up with what a lot of people would call a surprise winner here. How do you feel about the way this bracket is developed?
Yeah, I think it's very fair. I mean, we also saw some performance like Weghuz playing and Unid playing. I was really impressed by also Weghuz playing strengths, like making very, very little misplays, and just also even under this pressure which is created if you're watched by 10,000s of people, he didn't lose his passion or he didn't lose his focus and just tried to play his best. And yeah, I mean, if I would need to pick a favorite, I would say Weghuz.
Nice. So yeah, both of these players not had the easiest route to get here. They've both been crushing major winners on their way. Super JJ has been taken out, and Dawn and Ness all have major titles under their belt and have been taken out by these two players we're about to see. On the other side of the bracket, the Fallen and Mitzahide will go up against each other in our match following this one, who have also taken out some big names on the way. So really, all of these players in the top 4 are giant killers in their own right, just by making it this far.
Yeah. The story of the semifinals is that on one side of the bracket, we have the strategy that we all expected to see. We saw the Zoo Warlock and the Band Shaman strategy, where you pretty much try to use Zoo effectively as possible to try to corner your matchups from your opponents. On the other side of the bracket, though, you kind of throw it out and you have some people who bring some wonky stuff, like the Fallen, for example, who has this Control Shaman and Reno Jackson Warlock, which we didn't really expect to see either of those very much. And even if you look even fanning out to the top 16, Pakrovak and Stansifka also brought Reno Jackson Warlock. So maybe there's more to the meta than we think about it, which I'm always really excited to see from tournaments like this.
Yeah, it's always tough, right? Because a lot of people, even very, very strong players, will come into tournaments like this and say, I'm just going to bring the good decks and I'm maybe going to tech them a little bit towards the mirrors, and that's going to be where I get my advantage. But pretty much any good player is going to come up with that mentality, right? So do you really, Life Coach, you probably have more experience in this than anyone, do you feel like you can get an advantage that way by just bringing the best lineup, or do you have to try and come up to a counter strategy to be successful?
Well, I think it also depends very much on what counters what. So sometimes if there are really hard counters to things, if some decks have 60-70% matchups and also 30 or 40% matchups against other decks, then yes, then you might want to predict the meta and how it will be and then just try to hard counter that. But at the very moment, most of the matchups are like soft counters at best, so having 55-60% or 45%. And I think the best strategy is just to bring the best decks in those meta games.
Okay, does the concern of Last Hero Standing versus Conquest, because perhaps Last Hero Standing is the rarer format these days, which is what we're playing, so if you're preparing for this format in particular, does that bring anything into the equation in terms of whether or not you just want to bring the strongest strategies? Is it worth like maybe having one snipe deck in your lineup, for example, to take out like Zoo, for example, that's so dominant?
Yeah, maybe having the one or the other counter would not hurt, or especially probably specifically with the techs. So you will probably tech your decks different. So maybe putting more anti-aggro stuff so that you can hard counter Zoo or soft counter Zoo in a better way.
Yeah, sure. It makes sense. So it looks like we are just ready to take a look now at the decks and bans. So I don't think we're going to see too many surprises here. As Frodan mentioned, we're looking at this core strategy: Warrior, Druid, Zoo, and the Shaman is banned. So not a great deal to say about this. We've kind of broken down this dynamic over the course of the 3-day broadcast here. It's just going to be the powerhouse decks coming up against each other. And time after time, Frodan, we've seen this kind of series defined by the Zoo mirror.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's you know, for better or for worse, what people's lineup is hinged upon. They say, what's your best matchup? Well, you know, my best matchup is Zoo versus Zoo. And if they're able to win that, then they're favored against everything else. And I think you start seeing what would happen in a metagame if Shaman doesn't really exist. People are looking at mid-range Shaman as public enemy #1. Oh my god, I can't play against another Shaman. I want to, you know, I'd rather do so much other stuff. I'd rather uninstall the game than play Shaman. But now when you see what happens when Shaman goes, guess what? There's another deck that rises up and stands oppressive across everything else. This is a lesson in just how metagame cycles. You know, same thing happened with Patron Warrior. When we removed Patron Warrior from dominance, guess what rose in through the ashes? It was Secret Paladin, something that was being kept at bay, even though people didn't see it. It's very much the same exact thing here. Because Shaman doesn't have the ability to just wipe Zoo at the floor with portals and Lightning Storm, you see Zoo's dominance in this tournament.
We sure do, and we will find out right away how dominant Zoo is going to be for Weghuz. At least it's got its best matchup in the lineup against the Spell Druid, the Malagos Druid of Unid. We're going to get right into game 1 now to decide our first finalist, and calling the action for you will be Frodan and Life Coach.
Thank you very much, Soppel.
All right, so game 1, Druid versus Zoo. This is going to be really crucial for Unid if he's able to steal this game. And I say that emphatically because I've yet to really see Druid live up to the 40% that it's acclaimed to in this matchup. I've been seeing more like 10% win rate, it feels like, because Zoos have been dominating Druids this weekend.
Yeah, that's true, and we also see that the Druid start still needs some cards. I mean, yeah, the Raven Idol can pull you something, but maybe not. Furage also not the very best card. I mean, can also stabilize a little bit or slow it down, but the Ancient of War still needs to still needs some turns. But this Living Roots pickup is just so insane.
Yeah, massive. You can see how fast Flame Imps can snowball. I think it was actually a series with you at Casa where it was double Flame Imp and Demon Fire. It's like by turn 4 it was dead.
That was just crazy.
Yeah. So you need being able to stabilize against a Flame Imp pretty big. But for now, I think he's also happy to see turn 2, not much being developed for the Zoo either. So this kind of gives him some breathing room here.
Oh, definitely. I mean, a turn 2 villager is not what Zoo is usually hoping for. And also the Silverware Golem in the hand. I mean, with still having some cards in your hand, it's also not that utilizable.
All right, so you need easy snipe on the Imp Gang boss, so he desires with the Feral Rage. You know, just making sure that Zoo never builds up a huge board, so that way cards like Defender of Argus don't blow you out. It is one of the more problematic cards as you start hitting turn 4 onwards, because things like Swipe, Wrath, and Living Roots lose a lot more effectiveness against a board like that.
So, a Doomguard, that's kind of interesting. I mean, that leaves room up for a little bit more gamble, so maybe using the Soulfire at some point and then followed up into the Doomguard.
Yeah, problem with Dark Pillars, you're putting more cards in your hand though, so less chance to discard the Silverware Golem. But who knows, maybe if you end up picking a better hand, you hold off on the Doomguard 1 turn. Those can be a possibility as well.
That's true. I mean, it's just very slow what the Zoo is doing here. So you just give the Druid all the time in the world, maybe even too much time. Maybe time enough to coin into Nourish for mana, into Ancient of War. And it already poses a big problem for Weghuz.
Yeah, Ancient of War, a card that's pretty impactful against Zoo if you're able to keep their board size down. A card that people actually cycled out for a while. People just really didn't bring it. Do you think, has it been coming back, or do you feel like it's just a tournament deck?
I think it's just something which is kind of very good against Zoo. So you need probably included it to have something against Zoo so that the Druid just has, instead of 40%, maybe 45, maybe even 50. But this is really nice if you take a look at the curve. He can, he decides for, that's a very interesting one, because he could have also decided for coin into Nourish for acceleration, killing one of these 1/1s with a shapeshift, into Ancient of War, into Sorisen, again killing something, into a Drake, into Swipe. So what do you think about that, Frodan?
Well, when you say it like that, I can't disagree with you, Life Coach. It seemed that you saw the 3-turn line there. With Nourish getting out of your hand too, because Nourish is very clunky. It's very rare that you get to give up so much tempo by using Nourish for the cards, and using it for crystals is better now than much later, so I'm inclined to agree there. I think maybe what he saw was the potential threat of Swipe not being effective if his opponent had Defender of Argus and something else going on, and perhaps if his board got too big, and then Ancient of War would be poorly traded into. that could also be devastating. Because if you look at like cards like Doomguard and whatnot, it's pretty effective against Ancient of War if you're able to trade into it with the existing board.
Yeah, definitely agree there too.
Oh, unlucky.
Oh yeah, it is.
My shield for Argus.
And you know what? I mean, Druid's now getting pummeled. Really falling behind on board, even though losing that Doomguard.
Oh.
Can this Ancient of War do enough? I guess we'll find out after this Raven Idol.
I mean, this Ancient of War is also kind of a little bit fodder for this Councilman, so actually very bad timing for this Ancient of War coming down.
Okay. I mean, my first thing that I glanced over was how good is Moonglade Portal if you're able to stick a big minion on board, but most likely you can't because the Councilman's there. So you're just trying to stop the bleeding, so I think he's going to use that second Raven Idol to try and fish for more AoE spells.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, now, okay, probably tap, Imging Boss, another minion, trading 2 of these minions into this Ancient of War, still confirming the health, 1 health Councilman. I mean, not too bad.
Yeah. The odds of drawing a 2 cost or less is very high, and that's one of the best ones. So the Councilman goes up to 9 attack this turn. Yo, man. That almost single-handedly answers the Ancient of War. That's super scary.
Would you send your Void Walker in, or would you send one of the other minions in?
That's a good question. You already saw 1 swipe, though, and your opponent only played 1 Raven Idol. I still think you send the Void Walker in.
Yeah, I also agree, because you also confirm 1 additional damage to the face immediately. So that's actually a pretty cool thing.
Okay, and the position to make sure that the Imp Game Boss slides right in case his opponent has Starfall.
Yeah, and also already beginning to pressuring the Lives Druid in terms of lethal, so Druid doesn't have so much time to react anymore.
Okay, does the Moonfire improve things a lot? I mean, first he can clear off at least 2 things on the board, or actually 3 things.
Ooh, innovate.
Wow, if he picks up Swipe,
That would be pretty good.
Starfall.
No, just 1 mana off.
Maybe the second Moonfire, that helps you clean up a lot too.
I guess he has to.
The order! Imagine if he Raven Idol the first!
Oh man.
Oh.
It's also so close because if you think about it, the Malygos will come down. Just,
Wow.
Oh my god. If he could just delay them just a little bit longer, because with Malygos in combination, those just deal 5 damage more.
Yeah. That's pretty sick. I mean, you can still keep it for this turn, or for next turn, because Moonfire with Malygos lets you snipe a minion. And all of a sudden, Druid has a chance. Well, had a chance. It's 10 damage, so not enough to kill. Oh man, Malygos has a tall order here.
So, no.
Oh, hold on.
I mean, the Nourish can probably draw into something, but just probably not enough to deal with all of that stuff.
You can Malygos and play Living Roots and Moonfire, and that stabilizes. High likelihood that he still dies, but he's still alive.
So there are 4 damage on the board. So Weghuz needs either the other Soulfire or a Doomguard.
Yeah. Or he could tap into 2 things if he has Abusive Sergeant plus something else.
But even if Weghuz isn't able to kill Unit in this very turn, it's still, I mean, Unit still needs a lot of stuff, right? The Nourish has to confirm some spells, which can then get rid of the board. 4 minions now.
I don't know. I've seen Nourish be able to bail out Druids before in the past. He still has 1 more swipe in the deck. But it is very scary.
The Feral Rage probably also being very important.
Oh wait, isn't there like a weird chance where like if he swipes too fast, the Knife Juggler could kill him because of that? Oh, he doesn't find it. I guess he's dead. There's just no way to stop that much pressure.
Maybe we will see another 3-0 Zeus sweep here.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
That'd be crazy considering that Weghuz, every time he's been on stream, has been sweeping with Zoo 3-0 every single time. It's like the deck that's almost going to be iconic to him if he wins this tournament. One game at a time, though. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. The Warrior is being queued up here from Unit. And a lot of people, when they brought Warrior, specifically thought about using it to kill Zoo, whether Dragon Warrior or even just taking their Control Warrior to try to kill Zoo.
I mean, it's very important that Zoo respects kind of things like revenge, so always just putting down to 13 and then seeing how it goes. But Warrior already got this Fiery Vortex and the Ravaging Ghoul and the Barnes. So, I mean, that's looking very, very good for the Warrior.
That's nasty. Being able to have Fiery War Axe, and you know what? Having Barnes with the Ravaging Ghoul means that it's less likelihood that you get in trouble from that. Barnes outside of the Ravaging Ghoul has N'Zoth and Justicar Trueheart as the only duds when you play it on turn 4.
Get it out! Get it out!
At least a minion which cannot become Fiery Borax, but still good.
Yeah, Zoo's just going to have to hope that your opponent doesn't have the Fire War Axe. And the win rate for Warriors skyrockets when this ends up happening because you're able to play so efficiently against the early game threats from Zoo.
I mean, Uni just has everything, right? I mean, he has the Fire Borax, the Ravaging Ghoul, even the Revenge for later, just amazing.
Yeah, I don't even know what you really need from this spot if your opponent's able to destroy you. Wow, he even picks up Justicar Trueheart, so that's another thing that you won't get from Barnes. Look at that.
Yeah, not only that, but he will, with this kind of hand, he will definitely stabilize into turn 8. And by turn 8, he can just play the Justicar Trueheart and also force Zoo to bring him under 12 life, and then the Revenge will hit.
Yeah, I was kind of
Oh
feeling
my
a Sylvanas or something as impactful as that. This is kind of what Barnes was expected to do, given that you've already drawn the cards that don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
It was either this or Cairn, so...
Oh yeah, okay, that's right.
Yeah.
But the Sylvanas is just so huge here.
It's pretty
Just
annoying.
insane.
Yeah, I mean, Weghuz actually introduced with quite the conundrum here. What's the best way to play around Sylvanas? Or perhaps, no, you have to kind of make sure Sylvanas dies his turn, right? It's too risky otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can attack Sylvanas and hope that she steals a 1/1, but it's kind of very vague.
How's the interaction with Sylvanas and Imp Gang Boss? You know, if Imp Gang Boss attacks into Sylvanas, will the 1/1 be created before the steal?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Get it out! Get it out!
So that is what he's going for.
Yes. This
And?
is so awkward for Zoo, and it steals a villager.
Alright, the average expected result.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess Direwolf Alpha not that impactful. And all things considering, Sylvanas is very annoying, but definitely it could have been a lot worse.
Oh, now the no. Okay, the Torrent first. Yeah.
Yeah, Torn doesn't usually get to bully things much, but 1/1s is definitely pretty good against.
Yeah, I like it very much. The Torrent basically plays as a 5/5 here effectively, so it's pretty good.
And Weghuz does have a turn 5 play with Flame Imp and Defender of Argus. It's not exactly the kind of Argus you want, though. When you're in a position as Zoo and you're playing Defender of Argus to trade up in minions, that's usually an awkward spot to be in.
Yeah, I also don't see. I mean, Weghuz has just so awkward turns, and that is without knowing what Unit still has in his hand.
All right, with Ravaging Ghoul Revenge. Okay,
He's
gonna immediately taunt him here.
I mean, just making the best out of his resources.
So then on the following turn from Unit, this Ravaging Ghoul is really impactful again. Perhaps he doesn't even have to need to use it. But it also puts a 3/3 on the field, so I don't mind.
Yeah, it's a very good one.
Yeah.
You just trade this in, Ravaging Ghoul, trade the 2/1 into whatever you want. It's just very, very good. Probably even into the 3/1, yeah.
So I think the Warlock needs to draw a Doom card then, essentially, and then you have a chance to come back in the game.
Yeah, maybe.
In his mind.
Yeah, a Doomguard would be a nice thing, but no. Oh yeah, actually yes. Not immediately though,
Yeah.
that will cost him. Just giving the warrior the ability or the time to deploy Justicar Trueheart is already bad enough.
I guess you had the mana, you can play this.
Yeah.
The only way that it would be beneficial to keep would be if you draw Malchezaar's in, but that's very unlikely, so I think it's
That's
fine.
right.
And Warrior can pretty much just sit on the life gain and the AoE, the single target removal. Zoo has to...
Oh, there he is.
Well, he gets the damage on board preemptively.
Late to the party.
Yeah. That's actually pretty hilarious.
And on the other hand, Weghuz can confirm 3 more damage like this, so effectively he traded 3 damage for that card.
Yeah, I don't mind.
So you probably trade your Imp, 3/3 goes face, probably the Doomguard also goes face.
So would you Doomguard here and then just life tap? Because like, it's the card versus the 1/3 on the board. I don't know how impactful the 1/3 is right now.
Okay, interesting. Oh, I'm not sure. I would have probably played the 1/3, but Weghuz agrees.
I mean, I feel like the Malchezaar Zimp's not going to be nearly as impactful versus being able to draw into, like, the closer he is to probably his second Doomguard, he probably can win the game. Interesting if he wants to play around, like, to trade here, but I think he's just going face. You don't have much time. Tank up puts you on quite the low clock. You have to end the game as fast as you can.
Yeah, and that's probably also what Weghuz is thinking. So basically what you said, trying to get to this second Doomguard as soon as possible.
Being a little bit greedy here, just taking it slow, not really answering the Doomguard. I don't mind.
Yeah, he could have also shield block, tank up, and shield slam. That's right. So, I mean, how he played it, he gives the Doomguard another attack or the ability to attack first before he shield slams it. So, I'm not exactly sure.
Alright, what's the sequencing here? I guess because the juggles, well, the juggles won't really get past the first half of the body. You can do it for the second half. See what this Peddler picks up. Shifter Xeris? Okay. I actually like Shifter Xeris a lot in this position. You need something crazy to help you out, and that card could generate anything. Imagine if it gave you something like a Nubarok. I'm just saying, like, you have to kind of what was it? Shoot for the fences or swing for the fences here?
Yeah, I like it. I like the Shifter Zeros also very much. The Nubarok argument, yeah, is definitely convincing.
Or something like it. You know, you don't have to have like Deathwing. You know, like some of these really powerful cards. Even if it got you a reasonably sized fat minion like an 8/8, I think you need to do it. All of a sudden, I'm excited for this game.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a little bit kind of falling asleep there, but I think this Shifter Xeris is very spicy. All right. Okay. It could even be another Doomguard.
So let's see. I mean, Runic Egg. But even if the Nubarok would come down, I mean, there are still Sylvanas into Shield Slim Sylvanas and stuff like this.
Oh,
but
no. Don't discard the Shifter Xeris.
Don't.
Not like this. But the Doomguard's too hard to pass up. You have to just put the pressure on, right?
They could also play. The 2 1-drops. Oh no, he's playing everything. Okay, I see.
Oh.
Okay.
Interesting. Wow. Well, that Shifter Xeris definitely didn't live up to his potential.
No.
I have no
As a father life coach, you are very disappointed, right? That's just a Runic Egg. It could have been so much more in life.
But at least the trades were well into the Sylvana, so Weghuz can now trade everything into her and basically denying the steal, which is already kind of huge.
Ah, yeah, you're right about that. All of a sudden, any minion that Weghuz puts out, like this Doomguard, is less punishing. Oh, that Librarian draw, though.
Yeah, it's not really ideal, but Weghuz will also confirm to draw an additional bonus card first, so the chances to discard the Doomguard if you place the Darkshire Librarian first are also not that high.
Alright, so Weghuz probably will draw first here, see what he gets. And I guess he's looking for Silverware Golem, unless he wants to play the holdout game, which I don't really recommend.
Oh, does he go for the 50-50? Ooh!
I like it. Oh, he's going for the risk.
Oh, he's getting it.
Yeah, you have to be risky. Ultimately, it kind of doesn't matter, though, because Warrior's got so much. It's got Brawl and Shield Slam. Very easy to deal with. No matter what comes out on the other end, his fate is sealed. Send that Doomguard back to the Abyss. And I don't know what Weghuz needs to do. Second Dark Peddler into second Shifter Xeris is what I'm going to call here.
Yeah, I mean, Weghuz resources are really at an end.
Yeah.
And with both Doomas already being out of the deck, there's really nothing which could help him or bring him back.
Yeah. I mean, he's doing his due diligence to see if there's any opening, because Warrior could have an awkward hand.
That's right.
But, I mean, Warrior can now even start being aggressive with Grom, for example.
Oh, yeah, and he does.
Oh, okay. Sets it up for the lethal next turn. Yeah, that's fine. I was just like, yeah, why not just throw Grom out there? But you can set up lethal this way. It's the same difference, 2-turn lethal. And Weghuz needs to pick up something dramatic here. That
It's not going to do it if he taps as well, which he probably will. So yeah, it will probably be. Oh, he concedes.
All right, so game 2 ends in a 1-1 score for Unid versus Weghuz. Unid, of course, trying to get to the finals. Imagine if a finals is an all gamers origin finals.
Oh,
that would be pretty
insane.
epic.
Yeah, that would be very epic.
Yeah, practice partners going really far in tournaments. You've had your fair share of that, facing against Tice and RDU in tournaments.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Practice.
But that was in the semi-finals.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, it's never a good feeling to face teammates in any kind of tournaments.
You eventually got to do it though if you're as good as you guys practice and you guys win all the time.
That's right. That's right.
All right, so Weghuz on the coin here. Thinking about keeping Emperor Thorson. I think that's really valuable to keep as Druid.
Well, I guess. I mean, it's not that Warrior can always answer him, and it's also not that Warrior can prevent you from waiting for him. Even in combination with stuff like Malygos and Fendrel, it just gives Thorson so much potential.
Yeah, I agree there. And I also like that Weghuz threw away Raven Idol. I think a lot of people feel tempted to keep it early on, but Raven Idol gets so much better as the game develops because you have the situation which Raven Idol needs to be called for.
But you can also combine it with Fendrel.
Yeah, Fendrel also for more card quality.
So there's already a Twilight Summoner in the hand, and usually Druid doesn't have tools against Nizot with a lot of minions. So that's probably what Unid wants to collect.
I really like Twilight Summoner. Every time I attack, you just hear the signature of it. It just feels like such a flavorful card. It's one of the reasons why we like Hearthstone.
Yes, definitely agreed there. So there can already be a Thorson this turn if I mean if Weghuz thinks that Warrior cannot address it. But I mean,
with 4 armor, it feels likely in a lot of capacities, and you like Shield Slam, of course, being one of them. Slam War Axe is also a possibility. Execute is a possibility. But at the same time, your follow-up plays are pretty strong. You have Azure Drake, you have Nourish, you even have the Arcane Giant as you continue to play these cheaper spells.
Yeah, it's also completely blocking the Warrior's turn, putting that aside, so Warrior will also only be able to armor up into Shield Slam that turn.
And they have a lot of turn 4s that they want to proactively play. You know, Twilight Summoner being one of them, Infestatorin, or Barnes. So
exactly.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't mind. Disruption plus the fact that it leads into a good curve as turns develop is a-okay for me.
And it's so juicy. But I mean, for 4 mana at turn 4 is obviously also
interesting.
Yeah, it's the thing you do.
Alright, well that gives Warriors some time to develop, and Weghuz taking it really slow.
You need just also through the Justica, which is probably also one of the key cards in this matchup, just being able to tank up to out of Malygos range, just being very, very important.
Yes, definitely. As we've seen that sometimes Druid tries to just bum rush the Warrior down. Warrior does tend to stabilize, but sometimes it just doesn't have enough health to be able to outlast it.
That's right. So this one, she's
that works pretty well. Now you get the initiative against Druid, and 5/5 is just annoying enough that Druid can't deal with it easily.
So I mean, you can nourish for cards, but you can also just Dragon Brass and shapeshift it.
Yeah.
Your life total is not that important, so you don't mind that much losing 5 life against this.
Yeah, I like Feral Rage a lot better than the Wrath. Wrath is more versatile to draw cards.
Sure.
I think drawing cards is pretty important. I mean, people kept telling me that your goal as Druid is to never really use Nourish for crystals in this matchup. They'll always try to draw cards as much as you can because you need to out-resource the Warrior early on. But with cards like KO, you're not going to out-resource them anytime soon. That was really efficient and a great draw here for Unid.
Yeah, I mean, Cairn coming down is so important. Also being able to address this Dragon just for nothing. Yeah, so not that much which is missing for the Warrior. Especially also this Sylvanas is so insane.
Yeah, now is the time you start looking for Raven Idol solutions, perhaps. You could let Sylvanas steal it, and then try to answer the giant on the following turn. So your hand's looking like a lot of spells. So I'm feeling like Nourish is the first primary tool you're looking at. And then you can kill off Karen with the Wrath cycle and trade it to the 4/5 if you want to prevent Sylvanas from getting anything good.
Yeah, I like it. He also just got access to... Oh, actually access to Fenrir might change, because that makes the Rust also much more valuable for the future.
That's true. But you're still cycling with Wrath, so whether it does 1 damage or 4 damage feels not relevant in this situation.
Yeah, it's fine, yeah. I also like it. Like, Rust for 1, trading it. And you still got another Rust for this Fenrir, right? So maybe even first cycling with the Dragon and then getting the full potential for Fenrir.
Yep.
Basically also what you mentioned earlier, that we didn't see any Raven Idols yet, so also waiting until they arrive and then getting the full value from the Fenrir is very, very nice.
So there's actually a lot of choices this turn. Justicar is the first thing that I looked at, but you know there was a case for playing some of the other things too. Keeping Sylvanas alive is also really annoying for Druid. So.
Okay, so I mean the Broad's still missing, so Druid has the ability to maybe even overexpand and then just outvalue the Warrior, maybe dealing 10 damage per turn while Warrior can only receive 4 armor every.
I wouldn't mind trying to keep Sylvanas alive, but then at the same time their opponent drew so many cards, so it's most likely ability for your opponent to remove Sylvanas anyways.
Yep.
So that's probably going through his mind.
Yeah, I also think so. So Fenrir Brass is one option here. I wouldn't even mind it because you can also play the Giant as well.
Do you feel like that's extending a little bit too much on board?
No, I mean Fenrir and Giant would probably be fine, but well, that's probably better now.
Yikes.
So
It's true, it's just gonna fatigue in like 4 turns. It's gonna draw so many. Wrath Cycle, Nourish draws cards, he's played Azure Drake.
and also about the overexpand, I mean, you need to put some resources. I mean, a Giant alone won't do it. If the Warrior receives 4 armor every turn and loses 8 life, that's just not enough. So you need to at least commit. Oh,
he's going everything in here.
Wow.
And, oh, he's Raven Idols.
Oh,
2 Raven
wow,
Idols.
2 Raven Idols, and he does.
Oh no, he's wasted
God.
too much time. He's wasted too much time. Oh wow, this yeah, Weghuz
Okay, one
took too much time to think about it. Raven Idol not being able to pick up minions is pretty significant here. It's actually why you wait and you camp on Fandral and Raven Idols in this matchup. You actually don't tend to play them early on because you're waiting for the other path. And I think Weghuz is gonna get punished here.
So he basically played the Dragon first draw and then the Fenrir. Okay, so otherwise he would have cycled into 1 Raven Idol, right?
Yeah, I was perfectly fine with the Wrath there, with the Azure Drake, and then Hero Power it down, and then you would have gotten the Raven Idol. And even using the Innervate in that position to put the Giant out, and you would have had Drake Giant.
Yeah,
both would have been
yeah.
pretty good too.
I was also thinking maybe Fenrir Wrath, and I mean we know that out of that Nourish would have came. Oh, okay, so that's a blank.
That's pretty unlucky. But I mean, given that you need also had really good Barnes outcomes, I don't think you'd be too mad. So Weghuz lost the Fandral value, but still has a really big hand, and who knows? Raven Idol could pick up another important thing, like maybe a Fandral. Nah, he's gonna do it for spells, right? Or do you want minions? At this point, you have.
Oh my God. 9 mana minion seems to be pretty reasonable. Killing the Barnes right away.
Yeah.
That's pretty comfortable. Wow.
That is
Unreal.
quite amazing. You know, in Arena, people consider North Sea Kraken to be as good as a legendary minion. They just call it a legendary minion.
Oh yeah, of course, it's
How
insane.
impactful it is.
It's like 9 mana, 9/7 dealing for it. It's insane.
And, you know, Unique doesn't have the execute, doesn't have the brawl.
But Slam and Bash is doing it.
Yeah.
Just...
Ouch. It's yeah, I was expecting that 9 attack to connect to face, but not able to do it. And once again, Druid has to take some board initiative here.
I mean, that being said, Unique wasn't able to tank up this very turn because he really needed to get rid of this board. So that's already kind of 4 damage.
That's true. And I guess when you see Druid hold so many cards, you're thinking you need to tank up a lot, because what if he has Malikos plus a bunch of spells?
And Twilight Drake. I mean,
Twilight Drake's a 4/9
cards.
in this position.
Looks pretty appealing to me.
That's awesome. Okay, all things considering, Raven Island for minions can turn out to be pretty terrible if you get 3 or less minion or cost minions. Oh, wait.
Oh, what is not the roots? The roots are like 7 damage to the face, right? He just for the Acolyte.
Yeah, Acolyte's drawing another card no matter what.
Seems to be a little bit over the top because you really need this damage once you draw Malygos. So maybe rather playing some of these 7-drop and the Arcane Giant seems to be way better.
Yeah, basically you're trading off 7 damage to make sure your opponent doesn't draw a single more card, because that Acolyte's going to draw a card either way. Unless he wants to stop it from activating Execute.
Okay.
Okay, so I think he just wanted to play around Execute, possibly.
Infested Tauren Brawl, what do you think? Is that an option? Or do you play Ironforge?
That is an option. Ironforge Portal Brawl is also kind of the similar thing.
You don't get a 2/2, but on the other hand, you get 4 armor, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's more mana efficient, I guess.
That's right.
I guess the upside is Infested Tauren does leave you a 2/2, but I don't know how important that 2/2 is.
Yep.
You know, I was thinking, what if he Ironforge Portal into an Infested Tauren? All right, let's see who wins the brawl. Is it the Giants? Is it the Pandas? Or is it the Knight of the Wild? Man, I'm still kind of disappointed it wasn't the 4/9 Azure or Twilight Drake. That thing would have been nuts.
Yeah, I also think so. 4/9 for 4 mana. Oh, there's Malygos, but not the 7 damage. So 6, 23. So
okay, but your opponent just showed that he had to brawl desperately against 2 minions.
Do you play the Ancient for a 10/5?
You 100%. You read my mind. You uproot that bad boy right now, Weghuz, or I'm sending you upstairs without dinner. Drop that bad boy. Plant him in the ground. Oh, boo! Boo this man! Nah, just don't do that. He's new to the competitive scene. We need to be nice to him.
And there's also
all right, the punish.
A little bit.
Yeah, punish him. Is there a way you can gain armor for it? I don't think you can. There are a lot of good minions you can get from the Ironforge Portal. Playing around Spawn of Shadows.
That's not one of them, Froden. That's definitely not one of them.
There's no justice. There's no. Imagine if he uprooted. Just kidding. He would have been able to shield slam the 10/5. So, now that you've
and shapeshift, that's insane. That's just the that's the best top deck he could have drawn. Just insane.
This is what you wanted to do from the entire time as the warrior. The warrior wanted to, as a druid. The druid wanted to outcard the warrior, and the warrior's just not being able to keep up here. And you need. Not even going to use the execute here. He's going to rely on the next draw for brawl, perhaps. But is that a potential lethal setup here from druid?
So you could. What would you do? You would probably Moonfire the Tauren, attack face, and Moonfire it again. So 11
double
damage.
Swipe face.
So to 10, yeah.
With Moonfires, and then you hit face. I think that should be it.
Yeah, or like this. Yeah, that's probably better.
Yep, it's actually lethal.
It's lethal, yeah.
Well done here from Weghuz. A little rocky on the way there, but you know the fact that he was able to stick to his general macro line of drawing a ton of cards will be able to end this game. So you need drops the warrior versus druid, which is, you know, I was kind of expecting warrior to outlast the druid, considering that he had a pretty decent start. You know, Twilight Summoner came down, he had Sylvanas up against the Giant, but the druid able to draw a lot of cards.
The North Sea Kraken also did help a little bit.
Yeah. Now the Wild did his role too. The fact that he was a 6-attack minion was very relevant.
Right, yeah. A lot of damage, just counterfeiting this tank up every turn, pitching these 2, 3, 4 more damage in, just to get him into this Malygos turn range. Or in this case, we didn't even see Malygos, but just leaving him in the end.
That was a fun game. I like that one. Going to game number 4, Weghuz is up 2-1. You need, in order to go to the finals, to potentially meet his teammate and put his stamp on the Grand Prix history for 2016. Needs to win this game to stay alive, and he's going to turn to Zoo Warlock to do it. Now, once again, Zoo Warlock against Druid has been wildly in favor of the Zoo Warlock. I don't know if Horse Rider changes that. Do you think Horse Rider makes it more better or worse against Druid?
Well, I think it's probably with no real, with any real effect, because the horse rider is in there probably for the, I mean, for an Argent Squire or for whatever that is. So for the other card, which would be number 30, so I don't think that has any impact at all.
Okay.
But I guess the Living Roots against the Flame definitely did have a big impact here.
Yeah. Very big impact, although it still hasn't really changed that much ultimately from it. We've seen people start off just removing Zoo minions, but then they can't keep going 1 for 1.
Oh, interesting. So he could have utilized the Wrath, but instead he opted in just to deliver this 1 damage. So basically saying the Wrath in my hand is worth more than this 1 to taunt minion.
I think that's a pretty fair assumption. There's a lot more targets you want to Wrath, like Knife Jugglers, Direwolf Alphas.
Oh, the Soulfire being a very, very nice pickup also with the Imp in combination.
Yeah, if he picks up Silverware Golem, that's pretty much lights out for Druid in the very beginning stages of the game.
And that being said, we can also see Druid ramping here, and once Druid ramped successfully, he will also have the ability to block Zoo with these Ancient of Wars, and if Zoo just overexpands too much, maybe even a Spell Powered Swipe might end the game the other way around. Oh my god, that is such a strong draw.
Yeah.
That is like the strongest draw you could have as Zoo.
And he still has the opportunity to pick up Silverware Golem next turn, summon that, draw a card from that.
Yeah, just
kind of nutty.
Just insane. I mean, Weghuz knowing that and trying to deny at least the burst by wrathing the Imp here. So that devalues the Doomguard very, very much.
Yeah. I don't think that necessarily wants to stop you. Your opponent just used Mulch.
Put this apple on your head.
Okay.
Iron
Taking
Forge
it a little bit slow.
Rifleman. The first competitive Iron Forge Rifleman we've ever seen.
Did you like this over the Doomguard? I guess
Yeah.
You don't overextend this way.
Yeah, I guess I like it. I mean, you also want that the Doomguard only discards you 1 and not 2 cards.
Sure.
So definitely on board with that play.
So, Druid's stuck in that awkward position where they wish that they had Starfall, but they just don't have it. It would have lined up very well with this board.
Yeah, it's really awkward, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you have to use this Nourish, maybe even for cards, but...
This is why I like Thanos and Druid very often, because of scenarios like this. You know, 6 mana, swipe, not really clearing everything. The Spell Power Swipe, completely different story.
Okay, yeah, Doomguard here confirming 11 damage, bringing him to 6.
And that pretty much is it. Druid has 15, 31, 37 worth of mana to play on turn 7. So
Yeah, so blocking this, but Zoo can just overpower this 5/10 Ancient of War.
the 5/10 is dead on board. However, if you need whiffs, well, that's not really a whiff.
No.
Oh man, that's pretty strong. Okay, if he Drakes into swipe, perhaps? Drake into swipe. Could be the out.
There's not enough mana for Dragon to but I
Drake
guess
into Innervate swipe.
Oh, alright, okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. So, yeah, I mean, the Ancient of War could eventually, but probably not.
Okay, let's see. Moonfire and swipe doesn't really bail you out. Oh man, Ragnaros shot wouldn't be relevant because you're just dead on the board. So it looks like you are just gonna play Ancient of War and pass.
Yeah, I guess so.
Would you Moonfire to keep the 1 health? I don't know if that makes that difference. I think you might need to use Malygos with Moonfire.
I mean, are you even dead on board? So let's assume he trades 5 and probably also the count this and this. No, yeah. Is there somebody?
Okay, so if the 1/1 trades into it, that counts him and becomes 4. You can play 2 more minions, that's 6. It's 9, so 6 goes into it.
You have to send the 5 and the 6 into it. So that's the thing, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So unless he
So
draws
you are
any
alive.
kind of buff, yeah, you're still alive.
So if he picks up any buff, like Abusive Sergeant, he wins, though.
Yeah, immediately.
So if he uses this, he tries to stay alive by that damage, so I guess
Okay.
that helps a little bit.
Oh, definitely does.
Oh.
Oh, die with Alpha.
nasty.
Yeah, that's already enough. You can just die up with Alpha.
The
No, the
kinda
positioning,
messes
right?
it. Yeah.
Positioning messes up.
Awkward.
But it just still is enough.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
just
yeah,
send
yeah.
the 3 on the right side into it and then kill it with Doomguard.
Yes, yes, I see that now. Just has to play this one minion, gets the extra buff, and it actually works out. The positioning almost mattered.
Yes.
Did it?
Yes. So it goes into game 5. That's very exciting. Yeah. I mean,
That's the way you want to go in the semifinals.
that's exactly the way you want it.
Yeah, not Zoo 3-0. Well, Zoo might 3-0, but you know, Zoo being able to do well against the Warrior has just also been a big story of it. Can the Warrior hold off the Zoo, but this time on the other side for Weghuz? He needs that Fiery War Axe. He needs that Ravaging Ghoul early on.
You can also already see fatigue taking its toll. I mean, you see you need already being or looking a little bit exhausted, taking his glasses off.
Yeah, or maybe that's his intensity moment, like, you know, when he's really starting to get super zoned into the game.
Okay.
Oh, that's not necessarily the Fiery War Axe you're looking for. Weghuz has a very slow hand.
You need is like no Warwicks, no Warwicks, no Warwicks.
Yeah.
And there is no Warwicks.
Well, he still has a turn to draw it, yeah. Maybe that gives him some time to slow things down. Voidwalker's not like the utmost priority to coin Fiery War Axe. Flame Imp is a very big one, though.
That's right. So now would be very convenient.
Now is the Fiery War Axe, right?
And no. But another good card against Zoo, so it's not too bad. But yeah, this Elise Starseeker is really just a dead card in his hand. The Execute as well being really, really terrible against Zoo.
Yeah, Execute pretty much only good against Doom Guards, and I guess Imp Gang Boss if it gets damaged, but that's about it. Huh? The Weghuz, does he want to remove the Night Juggler this turn? You do have to give up your coin. Oh man, that's so awkward. This also kind of, you know, when you see your opponent coin out like that, can you make a read on their hand? Like, hey, they don't have like a good 4-mana minion.
Yeah.
They wouldn't play it.
Maybe a little bit, but I also think that Weghuz just thinks that it's just way too much damage if this Knife Juggler happens to survive. And I guess he's right about it. I mean, this Knife Juggler would have probably delivered 10 damage or something alone.
But now he's starting to fall behind on board a lot with no Brawl in sight.
But a Revenge, which could eventually be of interest depending on how you need to play. Also, double Ravaging Ghoul, just very, very good against Zoo.
Look at the impact of the Execute nerf right now. The fact that it's being 2 mana is so annoying. Well, Starseeker hits the board, and now your need can really start getting ahead. But I guess you also start thinking about the Brawl turn. If you want to extend into it, if you want to pace yourself, you go for this life tap instead.
So, what about the positioning, by the way? The Councilman is a little bit in the middle.
Yeah, if there's anything that's been a little bit consistent here with Unid's Zoo positioning, is that the Possessed Villager keeps finding himself in the middle.
Yep.
And I can understand if you want to keep it in the middle because it improves your Defender of Arcus opportunities,
yeah.
but it does make your Direwolf Alpha a lot worse. And he had Direwolf in hand with no Argus, so it is interesting to see how he positioned that way.
All you need seems also to just ignore the potential Brawl. Or, I mean, I don't know whether he feels that he already overexpanded into it, but he seems to go the line that he says, okay, Brawl, whatever. I mean, if there is really a Brawl, so be it. But if there is none, I might just win on the spot.
Yeah. In this case, he's able to at least deal with the Darkshire Councilman. A lot of 1/1s are generated. And in the end, 7 power remains on board. Or 9, excuse me. That's still a lot of damage for 15 damage available.
I think at this point you can probably make the read that there's no Brawl available for Weghuz if you are in the position of you need. I mean, this board last turn was just worth a Brawl. And if there is none, well, there is probably none.
Yeah. With your opponent pretty much at 6 minions on board, so it's like they definitely should Brawl.
Yeah, exactly.
So you need immediately taps. Not really choosing to play Doomguard here.
Yeah.
And now is stuck with a little bit of awkward hand. I mean, Defender of Argus is possible to help you to like protect the Direwolf. I like it.
Oh,
Interesting. Trading.
that's really interesting. He could have also just played the Defender of Argus and then traded only one.
Yeah. I guess in this case he wants more power with the attack to the face.
Okay. Interesting
Yeah,
choice.
yeah. I guess makes it a little bit less vulnerable to revenge. You know, maybe he doesn't want to get too much, like make his board too weak to revenge this way.
I also think that he wouldn't have lost attacks on the face, right? Because
Yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe
Yeah.
I was thinking that he didn't want to push too much damage, so he prioritized trading, so
Right,
not to
right.
rush him down. But I think you might be right. Because sometimes if you don't trade, you leave up minion, you go face, and then revenge wrecks you.
okay, that's a good point. So
This ravaging ghoul,
it's just insane.
man. And now Unique still has damage from the hand, but it's a little bit
Oh,
worse.
a silver golem hits the
Sick.
it's the hand, and that's really sick. So you can either go for Librarian for a 2 and a 3, or you can just play the Flame Imp and the Doomguard if you want to play it a little bit. Say, oh my God, is he really doing it? Is he really doing it? And oh my God,
how did he
it
do
worked
that?
out for him.
How did he do that?
That is just insane.
Wow! He
That
trades?
was just insane.
Okay,
He
play around
plays around
revenge.
revenge, also
There you
very
go.
strong play, and that was just insane.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I couldn't handle. Look at that. He's cupping his hands. He's zoning in. He's becoming life coach.
Oh yeah.
Wow. I don't know. My heart is racing from watching that life coach.
It's just insane, and also such tension. But Weghuz has access to so much armor up, it's just insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
He can just armor up, another 4 armor, just putting himself out of range, and also telling the Zoo, hey, I mean, you can
Yeah.
race me down, but you have to give me my revenge range.
All right. Well, you know, Unique can draw more cards if he wants to still play around this revenge. Just like tap his opponent down to 13 again.
I'll find it.
Yeah, it seems that he wants. I mean, it's 14 damage. So, well, actually, he could have tapped for Lisa. Could have he not? 3, 6, 8, 9, 14,
Well,
19. Yeah, he could have tapped for a second Doomguard lethal.
I think he already tapped though, so he's unable to get it right now.
No, no, I mean like before the sacrifice, or did he tap first?
Yeah, he tapped first.
Oh yeah, never
Tap
mind.
first.
Okay, sure.
Got the Argent Horse Rider.
Sure.
5, 10, 11 right now. So gonna hold off. Once again, playing around that revenge. Of course, if Warrior picks a Fiery War Axe, he can actually enable
Oh,
himself.
bro.
Whoa!
Oh my God.
Well, you couldn't wait forever for it. I mean, it was gonna come eventually. Oh, not bad. It's actually, it could have been a lot worse.
Oh yeah.
It's either this or the Doomguard surviving, best case scenario. Second Doomguard,
Oh, okay, he can play all and the Librarian. That's actually a pretty good turn.
and then trade into the 3-1.
Oh, definitely trading into it. Yeah, you don't want that he draws 2 cards with the Ecolite. It would also be very inconsistent with the line, I think, if you wouldn't trade here.
Yeah, and then
I mean, then you just become revenge. I mean, you trade revenge. Yeah.
pass. Okay.
Does he really try to outvalue the warrior here?
Oh, Fiery War Axe finally enables revenge.
I don't know. I mean, there's only such an extent where you can play around revenge. It's, I mean, he's missing these 2 damage there,
Yeah.
the 6 damage there, the 4 damage there. So.
Yeah, he would have killed them by now, right?
Yeah, probably.
But at the same time, his opponent did have revenge.
I know,
And he
I know.
would have been wrecked by it. I don't know. You give Warrior time, you play into their game plan, so it feels like a damned if you don't, damned if you do type of scenario.
Yes.
And now Unique can feel the game slipping away, slowly but surely.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. He can still play all the cards, so that was not too bad.
My shield for Arca.
Maybe,
Go
maybe
face.
even going face now. Yeah, I think now.
Oh,
now
man.
face is more.
Okay, but he's using revenge, so maybe he feels like this bit board presence is what he needs.
Oh my God, there's a Baron Geddon. Can he play him? Yeah, I think he
Oh,
can.
wow,
He
that's
can just
board
Baron
clear.
Geddon, shield block. Yeah, I think
That
this is over.
Board clear.
Or even shield slam. Yeah, he can also
Yeah.
shield slam if he wants.
And with this, Baron does 2 damage to himself. So, is there a runner-runner scenario here? I don't think so. Doomguard to Soulfire tap doesn't really... Oh, it's not it! Oh, man! He was so close, and you can
Oh,
see
you
the
can
exasperation falling over Unique's face.
Oh my God. And he was so close. He already felt the victory in graphs.
Oh, man. The Zoo Warlock, which has performed so well, is just not coming up. And a lot of decisions for not attacking. Was that the right call here? And with, Flame Imp, it's just going to be stranded in his hand. What?
Oh.
Where did this Big Daddy Sock champ come from? What? Oh my god.
Okay.
The animation of the purple stomp here was, the board was a metaphor for Unique's tournament hopes right now. He just stomped on it. And that's gonna do it. Game is over. Weghuz is going to the grand finals, having defeated the Zoo Warlock with his Control Warrior. Job well done. And we have a Swedish player from hometown representing the finals. We don't really see too much of the local scene in a lot of these DreamHacks end up performing well. But it's really cool to see it. We had Evangelion, the hometown team from Valencia, doing it. And when you do, you see a lot of people get excited for it a lot in the scene. So it's very exciting to see.
Yeah, it's amazing. Actually, day one, I wasn't up here with you guys. I was downstairs casting the Nordic Championships, which is another event going on. And what really stood out from me was that the amount of support that these local players do generate when they're playing on home territory. So amazing to see this from Weghuz, who is now joining me here. My friend, congratulations. You are our first grand finalist at DreamHack Winter. Must be an amazing feeling for you.
Yeah, I'm surprised, actually. I'm not prepared for this, but yeah, I felt before the match, I felt pretty good and not very nervous. So I've been pretty confident going in, and I had a decent strategy that they actually played into, which I was surprised to see the Druid first. But yeah, it feels great.
Okay, straight away, I mean, the card was drawn right at the end. I was going to ask you about it anyway, but that inclusion of Sogoth the Slitherer in your warrior, because you're playing a pure control warrior strategy, right? No Zoth, Cthulhu, or anything. Talk to me about Sogoth. Like, why is that in the deck? What are you aiming at? Just talk to me about the card.
The Sogoth is a nod to like Tempo Mage Druid, also other like control warriors. And especially Zoo, of course. I mean, they have POs and stuff, but this card Zoo that's popular right now plays Soulfire, so I think it's a really powerful high-end defensive tool, and where it's just built to beat Zoo and other like Tempo Mage and aggressive decks. So I felt like Sogoth was the perfect fit for the deck.
Yeah, it's super important for you, right? Because we've seen a lot of players falling by the wayside because they haven't been able to, Q-snipe the Zoo when it picks up a win, whereas you have that warrior available to fall back on. So must have performed really well for you this tournament. Guys, any other questions for him?
Yeah, I mean, you said that you were surprised to get here, but now you're here in the finals.
Yeah.
The fact that you said you also started competing recently and started streaming recently, it's just really, I just want to make a comment, no question, that it's really cool to see more local talent really rise up because of tournaments like this, giving chances for you guys to succeed. So, job well done, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
I also saw that before the match we were wondering like who might be the favorite, and I was saying, I put my money on you because you seem to also in front of many thousands of people not to get too excited or too nervous, but just making your play. And I mean, this also proves the point. Congrats to that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. You've looked very calm overall, but now it must be very real for you all of a sudden, right? One more game, the grand finals coming up. Are you feeling nervous? Have the nerves increased as the day has gone on?
Nah, not really.
Okay.
I'm feeling good.
Awesome.
It's probably the lack of like a screaming crowd or something.
Yeah, sure.
This is much more chill. Like outside this tavern, it's just pretty much the rows for Swiss, and largely people have fanned out, enjoying the rest of the festival because the eliminations have gone down. Only him and one other guy will be standing in just a little bit.
There you go. Well, Weghuz is a confident man. You now get a little moment to chill, find out who your opponent is going to be in the second semi-final. So we will take a moment as well. Very, very quick break. We will be right back with the second semi-final to decide who is going to come up against this man right next to me, Weghuz, in the grand final of the Hearthstone Grand Prix here at DreamHack Winter.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second semifinal here of DreamHack Grand Prix. My name is Frodan. I am joined by Sottle and Raven, and together we're going to present to you the second semifinal of this tournament. That's right, we're going to have the Fallen see if he can bring his unusual lineup up against Mitsuhide out here to seek revenge for his fallen French brother on the other side of the semifinal bracket. We've been having a lot of fun so far, but we're going to come to an end soon. For now, we have the second semifinal, which I'm a little bit envious of because you guys get some really cool decks to talk about. I hope you guys are prepared because, you know, Control Shaman and Reno Warlock are definitely some odd decks and oddballs these times around.
Why do you think I'm holding these right now? We've got this covered. I've got an extensive list of notes on the Fallen. Normally, when you're going through trying to take notes on deck lists, it's a few notes on tech cards here and there that stand out from the norm. The Fallen, I've just got this entire cue card just filled with endless descriptions of his deck.
Yeah, and I've got Mitsuhide's Hunter covered.
There you go. Nailed it.
I expect nothing less. That's right. Let's go ahead and break down what's been happening so far. If you look at the side of the bracket here, both these guys able to get through a huge field of competition. We had 9 rounds of Swiss to start things off, and then over into the round of 16. If you look at the Fallen, he was able to get past Loyan in the quarterfinals, a player that was featured in the Hearthstone Championship Tour of spring season. And then Mitsuhide being able to take down Pakravok, which is sort of like a Reno Warlock strategy, similarities
right
to the Fallen. He brought one with Dragon Warrior, and the fact that he had a similar lineup to Stan Sivka says a lot that they made the top 16 here.
Yeah, and what is potentially problematic, I think you've nailed it there by comparing the strategy to what Pakravok has, is that both times Mitsu has won. He's come here for his player interview, and the subject of that Hunter has come up. And he said, you know, why have you brought Hunter? Not many people have done that. And he said, well, I wanted to make sure I had something to beat all the fringe decks, the Reno locks, the Paladins, the Priests. He didn't mention Control Shaman, but you can throw that into the pile as well.
Why not?
So this series could actually very, very possibly just be set up for a Hunter sweep. It might even grow enough respect to be banned out from the opponent.
Yeah, and also very importantly, he said he felt like he got this far and didn't get as punished for the Hunter because he's just not been playing against that many players who play Zoo.
Right.
And it's just yet another, you know, yeah, honestly, like he said, like I've just not actually faced that many Zoo players, believe it or not, and it's just yet another matchup which doesn't have Zoo, and it, you know, it's just looking great for him in terms of it, you know, if you work off his past performance in this tournament.
Yeah, that's some really good fortune for Mitsuhide, not being able to really hit into many Zoo players, which would have denied him from the round of 16 and going all the way through. But that's kind of how it is. If you think a little bit creatively, maybe you can prey on the people trying to prey on the basic strategy. So, you know, taking a look at the lineups in just a second here, you know, you're going to look at the Fallen. He has that Temple Mage. His Control Shaman was banned out.
I'll throw the notes away, Sol. It's fine.
Oh no! I'm useless! I've wasted my life.
No.
But yeah, it's
okay.
It's just weird decks the whole way through, though. It's a Reno Cthulhu Warlock. It's a Cthulhu Warrior as well, with Elise in there, not the Doomcaller strategy that we're used to seeing. He's using Elise instead. And then even his Tempo Mage, which is probably his most core deck, it's a very, very strange list with, you know, one Kabbalist Tome, the Emperor Antonidas package. We've seen more and more people either going minion heavy, like Pavel did at BlizzCon in his winning run, or going for the straight-up burn strategy with the extra Forgotten Torches. The Fallen's doing neither of those. He's going for that late-game greedy strategy, and I use the word greedy because he used the word greedy. He came up here and said, yeah, I